The next item is the first review of revisions to the district strategic plan. And Mrs. Zardi, do you want to sort of comment on that?
So back in 2010, we completed a process that involved community and school individuals, as well as board members, administrators, and a strategic plan was developed that really took us from basically 2010 to about 2013. So last year, as we discussed the need to kind of rework the strategic plan, the board had suggested that I sit down with the administrative team and bring back our recommendations for how we can make modifications to the current plan without having to go through a whole other process of involving lots of people. Certainly at some point in time that's going to be needed again, but I think that from working with the administrative team, we've come up with some ways to stretch our goals some more to help our district move forward. So just quickly, I'll summarize. When you look at the vision of this school district, we did maintain that as it was written. The mission of the school district, we had in the past, our mission was student learning. We hadn't defined what type of student learning. And then we basically had taken the questions that are part of the work that's done for professional learning communities and just kind of incorporated that in to the concept of student learning. And so from talking with the administrative team, again, mission should be short, succinct, so people can remember it and it helps focus their attention. So we felt that the idea of high-quality student learning, we knew that our mission still needed to be student learning, but high-quality student learning, every child, every day.
That should be our mantra. I'm really glad that you looked at the mission statement, because it really should be, everybody should have it, should be ingrained in their head, and their mantra is high-quality student learning, every child, every day.
So we thought it might be nice to have kind of a graphic to go with that. So we were thinking it would be nice to develop something professionally, maybe have our students even have a competition, and the concept that's selected then could be taken to more of a professional person who could create it. Mr. Hay was adamant that we don't use just a little graphic that we get off of web images. So that's something I'd like you to think about, if you'd be willing to support having a student competition where perhaps we give a savings bond or something of that nature to the student who wins. Then when you look at the actual goals, we used to have 6 goals. We combined 2 of them together so that we now just have 5 goals. We took the 2 goals, continue to evaluate district curriculum and effective assessment practices, and the goal that stated make education practical by promoting high standards and basic skills and academic achievement for all students. Combined them and worded it to read promote high academic achievement and literacy in math for all students through continued evaluation of district curriculum and assessment practices. We know we want to really target in on reading and math. Those are key skills that our students need to develop. And part of how we promote that high academic achievement is through that evaluation of our curriculum as well as assessment practices. So it made sense to combine those 2 together. We also, probably one of the most significant changes, we took the goal that stated strengthen programs and co-curriculars to engage and retain all students to ensure graduation, to transform education to ensure the Toma School District remains a school district of choice for students and their families by equipping students with 21st century skills needed for college and career readiness. We feel pretty good about all the programs that we're currently offering and our co-curriculars. And at this point in time, I'm not sure that there's a lot that we can be adding, that if there's a need to be creating and adding new programs. What we need to do is continue to focus on how we, the terminology that we use, transform education. How do we break down barriers, make learning 24/7? Have students doing online coursework. You know, we need to be looking at how to change our system in order to retain and ensure that students stay with us through graduation. And that means by, I think, having more options that allow them to learn in different ways. We talk a lot about personalizing education, or you hear that a lot, and that's part of what we'd be looking at here as well. So those were the big changes in terms of the goals. And then we did look at the SMART goals that were listed underneath each of those, along with the objectives and the action steps. And those have all been redone to basically incorporate more of the initiatives that are coming from the federal government as well as our state Department of Education and committees and work that we've been doing. So you read about our teacher compensation committee. That needs to be part of the goal that's focused on recruiting, hiring, and retaining high-quality staff. The work that they're doing should be brought forward to this committee. The Common Core State Standards, the Curriculum Companion, the work that we're doing in that area falls under, again, high academic achievement. We have defined the areas that we're going to be promoting for staff development so that, again, we're focusing our resources on the initiatives that we think are most important. You'll see that we're looking at creating a new committee. It would be a Transforming Schools Committee that would create a report and a list of recommendations to the school board by January of 2015. And we envision that committee being made up of teachers, community members, parents, to really look at the research on what's happening and the visionary thinking that exists out there for changes in education. And then continuing to keep families, community, and business involved. We just are going to continue to be promoting the Friends of Education, and we'll have our building administrators reporting on any new initiatives that they implement from any year. And then I did include the honor roll nominees from WASB because that's an important way to, again, be connecting businesses to the educational experience. So just looked at things that we've started to do and getting those embedded in this as well. So again, the changes that we've made, we really feel are designed to help move us forward. And I think they give us some new goals to shoot for over the next 3-year period. But I think after that, we probably will need to reconvene a larger group to reestablish and take a look at the entire process again. So I don't know if you would like time. I mean, I didn't anticipate you approving this tonight. I thought perhaps you'd like a month to think about it and consider any changes or recommendations that you would like to see added in. It's our draft to begin with. I really thank the administrative team for working with me on that. Mr. Hay was actively involved, as was Mrs. Ellsworth, Mrs. Clark, a number of the principals.
Thank you for the thought on that. I'm glad that this wasn't something that just went into a notebook and then gets ignored. I mean, it's an important guiding document, and it's got to be changed when the landscape changes. There have been so many changes. We've got new initiatives, new policies, and this should be responsive to that. So I'm glad you're constantly revisiting this and changing it as we change policies and priorities.
And we need to continue to look at it. A lot of the things that were on there initially, you've accomplished, and so it's continuing on. And I think it probably is good to look in 3 years, once we've done quite a bit on this, to reconvene with a bigger group and refocus again. But I think it's a very good document.
I do
think
too.
It probably is good for us to get a month just to look at it before approval, unless people feel like they can go ahead
I like it.
I do
I
too.
mean, right now, the way it is, I like it, but that's just me. I mean, you guys might want to take some time, but I read it over. I like it.
I'm impressed with the specificity in it. I was curious, I had a couple quick questions. When it says under provide a comprehensive staff development program, and you very deliberately say 100% of staff development opportunities will be focused on, and then you list those, that looks very deliberate to me. The implication being that maybe in the past 100% wasn't devoted. I mean, what's your concern? Why is that such a sort of deliberate statement there?
I think we understand that there are a lot of different conferences out there. For instance, our foreign language teachers, it's good for them to go to a foreign language conference, and our music teachers going to a music conference. But as they attend those types of things, our expectation is for them to be thinking about how does this tie into literacy. As a music teacher, what can I be doing? What can I learn at this conference that will help me help my students read better or be able to do math better? So we want to keep that focus on those initiatives that we know are critical at this point in time.
Okay. Yeah, I wondered about that. The other question, when it said by 15-16 will exceed annual measurable objectives, which 47.5 and 62.2, where are those out of? I mean, we've moved beyond WKCE. Is that part of the report card
Yes,
paradigm?
that is part of the DPI. DPI set those annual measurable objectives. So
Okay.
that's what they have predicted as we've gone from the WKCE scores to the NAEPized version, which is a higher standard. That is the percent that they feel should be at proficient by that time frame. So we're saying we will do our best to exceed that.
And that's going to be based on the smarter, what is it?
Balanced assessments.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I think it's a great document, but I think it will be easy to bring back and approve at the next agenda if that's okay. Is that all right with everyone? But I agree with you, Jan. I wouldn't have much problem approving it now, but since it was on for review, let's just keep it that way if that's all
And
right.
if Mrs. Buswell has any questions,
Yeah.
allow her time to
Okay.
ask those too.
Great. Yeah.
Great work, though.
Very good
Yes.
work.